With all the internet controversy surrounding this movie, you would have thought it would either be really good or really bad. But who would have thought it would have been so boring? This is my awkward review of Ghostbusters. So everyone's probably heard of the internet stuff going on before the movie even came out. The trailers looked like crap. People were saying it's going to be the worst movie ever. I think their first trailer, people know it as the worst trailer ever. It got like the most thumbs down ever or something like that. So there was this big controversy of people, saying it was because it was all women, and if you hate it, you hate women and all this weird stuff. And me personally, I was hoping it was going to be funny, because when I first heard years ago that there was going to be a new Ghostbusters with an all-female cast when they were first pitching the idea, I thought that could be funny if they do it right. So I was actually one of the people that thought it would be a good idea. But after watching the movie, no. A lot of their jokes that they tried to be funny at were not funny. And don't get me wrong, this movie wasn't horrible like some people make it out to be. I don't consider this movie to be good in any way, but it is watchable. I wasn't freaking out trying to get out of watching the movie, but there was a couple times where I wanted to check my phone and stuff like that because my attention was just not totally focused on the movie. All the women that are in the movie have been funny in the past, and they're pretty good actors. Even in this movie, there's scenes where they act well and you think, hey, this isn't so bad, but it seems like the chemistry between all the characters, every time two characters are interacting, or if there's a whole group of people, it's like, I don't know, they just don't feel like they go together. If a joke didn't land, they're like, just fuck it, just keep going. That's another problem with the movie. They keep throwing in jokes that don't land, and I think that's why it's boring. It's like nothing makes you just start laughing, but they keep throwing jokes at you over and over. Just jokes, 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 little sarcastic things here and there. Every time someone says something, someone else says something sarcastic, but it's not funny to make you just start laughing. You're just like, that's kind of funny, I guess. That's how I felt about the whole movie. Chris Hemsworth, he was this dumb, like, he's the ditzy blonde guy. Like, they tried to make the ditzy blonde girl into a guy, and it could have worked, except some of the stuff he did was just used way too much. For example, I mean, this is just kind of a mini spoiler. Whenever he wears glasses, there's no glass in them. Whenever he hears a loud noise and he gets scared, he covers his eyes instead of his ears, and they kind of mention it the first time he does it, like, what are you doing? That's weird, they just kind of brush it off. But then he does it multiple times. Like, there's multiple times where something scary happens, or there's a loud sound, or someone yells or whatever, and he just keeps covering his eyes. Like, through his glasses, he puts his fingers and he's like, oh, like he's acting like he's scared. But even the dumbest person on the planet wouldn't cover their eyes if a loud noise is hurting your ears. And they use that at least 3 times, maybe 4 times, and it just was like, do something else. Like, it's not funny. It wasn't funny the first time. He's hired as a secretary, but he doesn't even know how to answer the phone when it rings. Every time the phone rings, they have to yell, answer the phone, until the very end of the movie he finally answers the phone without being told to. But it's I mean, he's a secretary. He knows he has to answer the phone, and they keep yelling at him when it rings. You have to answer it, and I don't know. There's a couple jokes where him being super ditzy could have been funnier. It just like none of the jokes landed to make you want to laugh out loud. Everyone was pretty, stereotypical, and I think that made a lot of people mad. Um, I thought Kate McKinnon's character was gonna be the best because she was like in the previews. She was like, this crazy scientist. She's the one who makes all the tech, and it was sort of the same thing. How the jokes weren't landing. Like she would do something crazy, and I thought those were gonna be the best part. But honestly, every time she started acting weird, it sort of just annoyed me because it didn't seem real. Like it didn't seem like she was that character. It seemed like someone was pretending to be a weird, mad scientist. Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig, they were both just really boring. Holtzman, which is Kate McKinnon's character, she makes all their tech, and she somehow makes the portable proton packs in a day after she has one prototype that's a huge clunky thing that's way hard for them to move around, and then she makes all these other gizmos in a day. It doesn't make sense because they only ended up catching like one ghost in the movie, and then they ended up letting it go, and then at the end of the movie they're doing all sorts of crazy stuff with their proton packs, and they have a couple different versions of them. Like they make a shotgun version, and then there's a little dual pistol version, and they're like whipping them around. The ghosts just like die. It doesn't make sense. They're ghosts. They're already dead. But when they're whipping them around, it somehow kills them again. It really didn't make any sense. Another thing I want to point out real quick is the cameos. A lot of the original cast makes really short, really unwanted, really unnecessary cameos, and you can tell they didn't want to do it.